Barry Littlefield from Cure Brain Cancer. I just got a question, and it really encompasses a lot of the things that you've been talking about: trust, authenticity, everything else, and also with you, Darren, about the plethora of people and agencies that are involved, whether it's PR or advertising or direct or whatever. How do you control the message as a company? I'm not just talking about brands, and tie that back to your values, what is really important, and expectations of your audiences. How do you control that message, and should you control that message within content?
Can I jump in?
Yep.
You can't control it. Consumers control brands these days. So to use another example from Coke, there's so much UGC, user-generated content on Coke, on the web, on YouTube, and all the rest of it. And I think Coke's strategy to it is don't try and change it, but just put out their brand strategy in a way that's really simple and really clear. And then you get people to create user-generated content off your brand strategy. And their brand strategy is open happiness, very simple for everyone to understand. It's brought to life in lots of different formats around the world, and that's their strategy. You can't, of course, if you go onto the web, you'll see a lot of stuff around Coke and Mentos and this, but you can't do anything about that. It's there, but if and I hope I'm not, I don't want to speak for Coke, but this is kind of what we've picked up at WARC in terms of their strategy, that actually just have a clear, very simple brand strategy, and then you've got a much better chance of people creating content off the messaging that you want to promote.
I would just contend, and I think I probably would agree with you, I contend that that's the very thing that would make a lot of senior executives really nervous. In big corporations, that they can't control the message, they can't anymore, and that makes them feel really, really vulnerable because of things like Walmart happening. Okay, and that you can wipe the value out completely. So,
but the problem is that if you do nothing, you've created a vacuum, and in that vacuum, it just allows other people to fill the conversation.
And they're talking about you anyway.
Yeah.
Whether it's offline or online.
Absolutely.
And somebody needs to drive brand preference. So if you're not talking, if you're not there, if you're not being, if you're not doing anything, then your competitor is, and then the executives are going to hurt a lot more if they're not seeing the sales. So,
and I think I've a really good example recently, and probably a lot of people in the room have seen it, was the Domino's video that they did, and they featured complaints that appeared on their Facebook page over a period of time. And I guess back to the point, Ed's point about you can't control it, I think it is the spin you put on it, without really saying spin as in where, in that context.
Authentic spin.
Authentic spin, I think we'll say, but just taking that back to their customers and saying, this is what's being said about us. I think a lot of people can see that there are some people that will always complain about stuff. Always brands will have complaints. And it's, I guess, how you deal with them and how you really present yourself in an authentic way, which we've spoken about, so that you can kind of, the people that are prepared to make a considered judgment of you can look and see what you're doing and that you're actually being true to yourself.
I think senior managers have to embrace it. Did anyone see the Macca's Our Food, Your Questions campaign? Most of you did, Canada. I mean, they opened up a platform of questions about their product, and plenty of dodgy questions, but they managed it, facilitated it really well. Remember BP, the oil spill? What was that, 2008, 7? They didn't react. So to the points here, they didn't react and ban BP, boycott BP, spread out all over Facebook. Disaster, because they hid in the sand, I think, for about 5 days, 6 days.